Hello and welcome to another video. So this is going to be a very quick conversation. It's going to pair with other conversations that we have had about hair. It's going to pair with conversations that we have recently begun having about being Black and the realities of that, racism and the realities of that, colorism and the realities of that. I will say that I was probably in my late 20s by the time I started to understand. And you say, Tanzania, how did you escape it for so long? Nothing but the grace of God. Because once you start to see people behave certain ways and do certain things, it really could leave you bitter. Okay. When I grew up, without telling all of my business, I grew up primarily understanding class as far as like income level class, right? I think being a brown-skinned girl and just being around people who, there was always a mix of people. You know, my mom never had us primarily in like white spaces or anything like that. I noticed that as you try to do better for yourself and just move to better areas, go to better schools and things like that, it became just more apparent. I'll say that without saying too much. I just want to be very kind, and I want to let you know, maybe you're this person. I talked to you about something recently. If I can remember the video, I'll link it, where I was working at, nice preschools, high end. Like I said, people spend about $300 a week to send their kids there. Nothing that I could afford. So there's that. So the demographic of teachers versus the demographic of people who actually attended the camp was very different. And this brought about a lot of questions for me. And the Lord began to speak concerning a lot of things that I really just didn't know anything about. Go and check out the African American slavery video, where I told you that the Lord said you are well assimilated. And that was both, it was kind of like an understanding. It was a little bit of a wake up. It was like, you're well assimilated, wake up. There are realities outside the one that you live in. So I'm just giving that little backstory, just giving that. Like I said, I was probably in my late 20s when I started to see some of these things. And it wasn't until I started to get like the better jobs in the better places and be able to afford the better things that I really began to notice things that people have long since begun to notice. So there's that. So I'm at the park. I take my daughter to the park, and there's two little girls. My daughter is Black, of course. Like, my husband's Black. I'm Black. Excuse me. My daughter's Black, and my daughter is like, beautiful, deep skin Black, right? Deep skin brown girl. I don't want to say Black, but you know what I mean. Like, she's a darker skin tone than I am, and I know of the importance. It's important to tell somebody they're beautiful no matter what their skin color is. It's your child. It's your job to let them know that they're beautiful the way that they are. So it doesn't matter what color she is. I would reiterate that message, just because one is true, but it should become true to the person as well. I told you guys about, recently we've been doing a lot of hairstyles and things like that. I told you I'm getting gray hairs now, and I'm getting gray hairs and just coming to some of the conclusions about the hair that grows out of my scalp, and understanding what a slap in the face, really what a slap in God's face it is for some of the things we do. We're quick to put on the weave. We're quick to cover up what it is that He has made so beautiful. And there's a lot of things that go into that, but I'm gonna get back to the story. I'm at the park, two little girls, and the little girls both, they come out there, they dress exactly the same. The little girls have on little sun hats, okay? And under the sun hats, the little girls both look like they're Caucasian. I'm just being honest with you. You're looking at me, I'm looking at you. They both look Caucasian with the hats on their head. I didn't think anything of it. The little girls took, a liking to my daughter. They start playing. My daughter finished running in the water, and the little girls are just kind of staying back, with my daughter's toys over there by me. Now, whenever children stay around an adult, when I'm the adult, I'm always looking over there. And if I get the opportunity to like go over there and say, hey, oh, thank you for entertaining my kids, I'll say that. I didn't know who the kid's mom was because the mom wasn't obviously sitting in like the immediate vicinity. But because at one point in time they ran over there to her, I said, okay, that must be mom. So I said, okay, the kids still look Caucasian at this point to me. They're playing. At this time, I mean, probably like 30, 40 minutes pass by. So the kids continue over. I mean, they're over here with me, bothering me the whole time, but I didn't mind it. Like, if you know me, you know that if there's kids around, I'm probably the one who the kids, like, I take to the kids. Hence, teacher, used to own a preschool, all that kind of stuff. It's just something God-given, and I just go with it. If the kids feel comfortable around me, the kids feel comfortable around me, and that's just that. So, you know, I'm being kind to them, letting my daughter know, be kind to them, whatever, just playing. Like, having nothing's different. The little girl sees my daughter come over there and ask me to take down her hair. So her hair is like in mini braids like mine, so they're not so small, and it's braided in the back, and it's also in the like a little ponytail like this. So it's moving a little bit. You know when you get a little water on your hair, it starts to shake a little bit. And I guess she was feeling herself, and she said, "Mommy, can you take down my hair?" And I'm like, "Girl, sure." Because whenever I know how it feels. I know how it feels to feel constricted. When you have all those heavy braids and stuff, and you get that stuff wet, it be heavy, and you really don't want to get it wet. But when you have your natural hair, have you ever been to like the swimming pool or the beach or anything like that with your natural hair? It's a totally different feeling. Just relaxing in all you. You don't have no face full of makeup on. You don't have a, head full of weave. You're just you. It's a beautiful feeling. So, since she said take it down, I said, girl, I'm all for it. Take it down, go over there. Like, a part of, doing her hair and stuff like that, they made it seem like it was such a chore for us for various reasons. I'm not here to get into all that. They made it seem like it was such a chore. So then we took on that same weight of it's a chore. Well, it's not. It's just something else that we do. Just like you brush your teeth, just like you get in the shower, at some point in the week, hair is just something that's on the menu. If the hairstyle lasts a little longer and it's not on the menu, it's not on the menu. But most of the time, it's on the menu, even if it is just washing it. So I don't make her hair a big deal. It's not a big deal to me. And I don't make it seem like a big deal to her. I don't be like, oh, I don't want to sit down and detangle. I don't do all that. I try to do the best that I can do. And if you're a mother and you're like, you know what? I haven't been doing the best that I can do. I want you to know that you can actually do better than you have been doing, and do that. Don't feel bad, but just do better than you have been doing, because especially when you know that you can do better. So again, girls just playing. Kennedy, asked me to take out her hair. I said, okay, girl, go put your hair, like she would just put her hair back in the water and just be shaking it. And I'm like, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. The hair is in braids, girl, ain't gonna bother me none. That's why the braids are there. Ain't gonna bother me a bit. The other little girl, the smallest girl, sees my daughter doing that and takes this hat off her head. Now, when she took the hat off her head, I immediately knew that she was black. Her hair looked like mine. I mean, her hair was more kinky than mine. And you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes, I told you guys this in the last video, when you're mixed, you don't get to then decide what kind of, you never get to decide, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm being like for real serious. When you have mixed children, you don't get to decide what those mixed children look like. You don't get to decide their features. You don't get to decide, oh, I love my black husband, but I don't want his wide nose. Like, you don't get to decide those things. And I feel like even the Lord is so intentional that if you are the person who doesn't, you know what I mean. You be acting, you be doing, and the Lord sees and knows, and he'll give you children who have those same things that he see you doing. You know what I mean? The girl's hat fell off her head. And when the hat fell off her head, something in me said, oh, that baby's black. That's why she over here. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't play. I said, okay. Well, that's what the dolls are black. The dolls are black. Kennedy's doll is black. So they're over here playing with I get it. I'm getting it. They're over here playing with the doll's hair. I'm understanding it. One homegirl took the hat off her head. I said, oh, the baby's black. And I was not expecting what came up next. The mom rushed over there so quick, as if something or someone was on fire, and said, you have to put your hat back on. Now, she didn't say, hey, thank you for playing with my girls. No. She said, you have to put your hat back on. Now, I have my noise cancellation headphones in. It was nothing, I wasn't trying to hear the conversation, but I feel like the Lord put it in front of my face very intentionally. One, because I told you what he's been talking about. I told you how he's been consistently bringing up these issues. So I wasn't trying to hear the lady's conversation, but she was like, you have to put on your hat. And if you take off your hat again, we're going to leave. And I'm thinking to myself, man, is it that serious? And immediately my heart knew that she did not want the little girl to look black. She didn't want the little girl to look black. She wanted to cover that piece up. And she was half talking to me. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. She was half talking to me. Now, I could have told her a thing or two how to deal with them curls. But she didn't want that. She wanted those children to appear white. In the area that we're in, if you knew the area that we're in, you would understand what I'm talking about. She wanted those children to appear white. And I see it so much. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for helping me. I see this time and time again. There's, mixed children, and then the parents are they're not careful, and they put them in these circles of people who do not look like them. And there's nothing wrong with not looking like the other people. It's nothing wrong with not looking like and not wanting to look Caucasian or whatever else. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong with you making me feel as though I'm not beautiful because I don't look like you. And I find that that's more or less what goes on. I saw the little girls had these little teeny dreads in their hair. And I knew, again, an impression laid on my heart. I knew that these little girls had those dreads in their hair because they could have them down. They look more, you know what I mean? They fit in more like that. The little girls sitting there admiring the water, admiring everybody else being playing with the water. And I know they weren't allowed to get in that water. You know why? Because their hair is going to tangle. And nobody has figured out how to deal with hair like yours, like theirs, that tangles in the water. This is a shame. And then you have some people who are like, you know what? I figured it out, and I'm going to monetize and milk the kids. I'm gonna, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to do too much. You know what I'm talking about. I'm going to, fetishize and just do the most with my kids because I figured out how to do their hair and stuff like that. You see them all over the internet. I said it before. I'll say it again. People marry just to have mixed children sometimes. And then they treat the children like prisoners. And it's a shame. And let me tell you something. Above it being a shame, the Lord sees you. And let me tell you something. If you grew up in one of these households, the Lord sees you as well. And he knows your pain and he wants to heal it. Because people, I can only imagine, you just grow up hating yourself. You don't like nothing about yourself. You're not quite white. And then you're not quite black. The black people can't stand you because they think you all that. And then the white people are like, oh, well, you don't quite fit in here either. It's a shame. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying don't mix races. I mean, who am I to say that? I'm not saying don't fall in love with someone who doesn't look like you. I'm not saying that. But I also want you to be aware, if you're not mature enough to handle what that means, if you're not mature enough to handle what it takes to raise a child that is biracial, okay? All right. Don't try to close out one and complete, thank you, Holy Spirit, for speaking, a complete side of who the child is because of your own personal issues. That lady never said, she didn't say more than 3 words to me. And let me tell you something. She came back on there and she strapped that hat so tight on that little girl's head to where it couldn't move. And then the hair was not like down to where you could see it. She literally wanted to disguise this little girl's identity. The little girl took the hat off her head and the mom within seconds came rushing over there and they literally left. And to everybody else, it might look like, oh, well, the little girl broke the rules. So, mommy said it's time to go. No, it was much deeper than that. And instead of dealing with the issue, I mean, why sleep with a black man if you don't want your children to be? That doesn't make sense to me. Yet that's what's going on. So I wanted to say that because, like I said, the Lord has been speaking about a lot of things. He's been saying a lot of things. I just want you to pay attention. I don't want you yourself to then become racist. No. But if you are one of these people, perhaps you're, a teacher or you're around children a lot. I want you to be very much aware of how you are treating these children. You know why? Because the Lord sees you. And what does the Bible say about being a stumbling block to these little children? Because sure enough, to have to spend years upon years upon years into your adulthood trying to undo what was done in 18 years of childhood, of adolescence, is wild, but it happens every single day. So that's all I wanted to say. As always, if you have a question, ask one, and I'll see you in the next video.